Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about the recently launched RedMagic 10S Pro. Now this phone is very interesting for a couple of reasons. For those who may be unaware, RedMagic phones are generally geared towards gamers. They have gaming software on them, they try to make these phones run cool with their cooling solutions, and they try to keep the prices down using flagship chips. And the RedMagic 10S Pro here will be using the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. What really has my attention here is that RedMagic is saying these phones are shipping with a Windows game emulator, and that game emulator can run Steam and Epic Games launchers. I am very curious to see how it all pans out and how real-world testing is on these. They say it's comparable to something like WinPlay. As for phone specs, on top of the Snapdragon 8 Elite, they start at 12 gigs of RAM, go all the way up to 24 gigs. The storage starts at 256 gigs, but they also have 1 terabyte models. The screen on this has 144 Hz. They have dual 50 megapixel cameras. They have a built-in active cooler. They have shoulder buttons. And on top of that, there's going to be a Pro Plus version that has a slightly bigger battery and a bit more performance. However, it's worth noting here that the extra performance in the 10S Pro Plus comes in the form of additional RAM and storage. I mean, 24 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage is quite a bit. If you are looking at just the 10S Pro here, it caps out at 16 gigs of RAM with 512 gigs of storage. And pricing starts around, I think this is in the $600 range for US dollars and goes up to just over $1,000 overall. However, I don't know if those prices will hold up in the States because of the whole tariff situation. We'll have to wait and see on that. If you're interested in these phones and wanted to learn more about them, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. And taking a look here, these are set for a global launch of June 5th. Let me know your thoughts about the 10S Pro and 10S Pro Plus in the comments below. And speaking about stuff launching on June 5th, next up we're talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. And there's been more chatter online than normal about the Switch 2. There's always quite a bit, but this is more than normal because people are spotting the Switch 2 in the wild. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not really surprised about this given the fact that these are going on sale in less than 2 weeks and stores will need stock in order to sell it. I am kind of surprised, though, that they're leaving these right out in the open, although they are locked in a cart here. At the same time, they're not in a box or anything. They're not hidden. Now, I'm not in retail to understand how these things work in terms of what you can show and what you can't show. But if you work in retail, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Is this okay for a store to do? Or is a store breaking rules by doing this? And continuing to talk about the Switch 2, it seems that Nintendo is trying to take additional measures to help prevent scalping. And here is the title over at Video Games Chronicle. Nintendo has teamed up with 3 of Japan's major online marketplaces to fight Switch 2 scalping. I'm curious to see if this tactic actually works to deter scalping and to remove scalping. Now, it's worth noting that these practices are only for Japan, but I'm curious to see if these partnerships are successful if they continue on globally. That would be pretty cool in my opinion. The 3 sites here are Mercari, Yahoo Auction, and Rakuten Rakuma. And interestingly here as well, Yahoo Auctions has said it would consider Nintendo Switch 2 a prohibited item from launch until an undetermined future date. We're going to have to wait and see for the overall effectiveness of this one, but I'm curious to see if scalpers just pick up the Switch 2 anyways and then hold on to it until the undetermined future date, in which case then we'll see a whole bunch of listings on the exact same day for the Switch 2. Let me know your thoughts on whether or not this will be effective. And continuing to talk about Nintendo and stuff reported over on VGC. Next up, we're talking about Nintendo appearing to have blocked the recording of videos on its Nintendo Today app. I believe this started from a post over on Reddit where someone noticed they weren't able to capture content, record content with their smartphone within the app. And it seems that this has been tested on a number of different devices, and some devices you can and some you can't. I don't know if this was intentional. It probably was. I don't know if it was a part of the app since day one, but at the same time here, there are ways around it. It's just going to make things more difficult for some people trying to capture that promotional content. Let me know your thoughts about this one. If you've had issues, let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about Anbernic, and Anbernic has just unveiled the RG35XX Pro. Now this one is interesting because it's featuring the Pro name. Based on the trailer here, it seems that this device will play stuff up to the PS1, Dreamcast, N64, PSP kind of era, which myself and a lot of people figure that this device will have an H700 chipset. And if it does have the H700 chipset, it'll be on par with a bunch of other Anbernic devices, which begs the question, what does Pro mean? What does Pro do to separate this device from all the other H700 devices out there? There is some detail here about this device in the description, but not a full spec sheet, so there will be 3 different colors, white, black, and teal. The screen on this is 4x3, it's 640 by 480, and it's 3.5 inches. It will have 5G Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2. It is running Linux. But that's really all we've got at this point in time. Let me know your thoughts about the RG35XX Pro in the comments below, and what do you think Pro means on this device? And speaking about upcoming handhelds, next up we're talking about the Magic X040. The release date on this one is set for June 17th. I don't know the pricing just yet. It is running Android and Linux, and the screen on this one I think will be interesting for a lot of people. There are no reviews yet of this device out in the wild, but I'm assuming there's going to be a whole bunch of them because I think this is a highly anticipated device. I'm hoping it shapes up well. I'm hoping the controls are good on this one, and I'm hoping the build quality is good as well. If you are interested in this one and wanted to learn more about it, Retro Handhelds has a pretty detailed article about it already, even though it hasn't launched. At this point in time, I don't have a price yet for the Magic X040, which is interesting given the fact that it's releasing pretty soon. Either way here, let me know your thoughts about this one if you're interested in it and if you're curious about it overall. And speaking about interest in things, next up we're talking about something that is losing my interest pretty quickly. Now, we've talked about Capcom in previous videos. In fact, in one of my most recent videos, we've talked about the huge success of Capcom. I am a fan of a lot of Capcom games out there, but this is causing me to lose a bit of interest in Street Fighter 6. I am a fan of Street Fighter 6. I played a lot on PC. However, on Nintendo Switch 2, it was going to be one of the games, if I ever picked up a Switch 2, that I thought would be a must-have on the system. And based on some of this information, you may disagree with me, you may agree with me. It's just, this is disappointing. So here's the latest. The Japanese box says the year's 1 to 2 DLC for Street Fighter 6 Fighters Edition is a code in a box, and it expires 2 years from release. This is on top of the game being a game key card. Let me know your thoughts about that one. I mean, this to me really puts a dent in the overall value of this game, especially if you're trying to pick it up on resale. I pick up a lot of used games nowadays, and well, this is something I'd probably avoid picking up used because of, well, a number of different reasons here. I think the digital way of this game is probably the way to go here, just to avoid a whole lot of headache. But again, if you buy it physical, it's just a game key card. I don't know. I was really having high hopes for this game. I was excited about it being on the Switch 2. I thought this would be amazing on the Switch 2. It still might be amazing. But just the context behind everything here is just, this is, to me, it's not consumer friendly. And taking a look at some of the comments here, it doesn't seem my opinions are too far off base. This person says, this is madness, so I buy it, and even if I don't choose to use it, the code expires in 2 years. Wow, what is the driving factor for this console? End of physical media as we know it. A round of applause for Nintendo for yet again crippling gaming. And Does It Play says, that's why we don't call these abominations a physical release. Next up, we're talking about Half-Life 3, and I was debating on whether or not to talk about this one because there always seems to be a Half-Life rumor circling around somewhere. Anyways, the latest rumor about Half-Life 3 is that Half-Life 3 will be the last Half-Life in the series. I honestly don't know what to say about this one given the fact that we haven't even seen a Half-Life 3 yet, and it's been forever since Half-Life 2. I mean, even if we get a Half-Life 3, I think that would be good enough. Half-Life 4, if they were even thinking about that. I mean, look at the time between Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 3. Half-Life 4 would be in a whole bunch of years. So I think it's way too early to even think about that. I mean, if Half-Life 3 sold like hotcakes, was one of the top sellers, they may be interested in making a Half-Life 4 to continue on making money. Either way here, it's a rumor, and I wouldn't really put a whole lot of stake into this one at all. I wouldn't really put a whole lot of thought into it, given the fact that Half-Life 3 hasn't even been confirmed yet. There's still rumors about Half-Life 3 being in development, being released at some point, but we still don't know anything in terms of what is real and what isn't. And speaking about stuff in the works, next up we're talking about a crossover that to me is super weird, but I'm interested to learn to find out more. And that is Assassin's Creed Shadows and Balatro. According to the patch notes in version 1.0.5 of Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's going to be a Balatro crossover. If you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead, but it's being reported here that the crossover is a Balatro trinket. And the trinket is dubbed the winning hand, and the ability of the trinket is that it can apply afflictions on combo enders. On top of all of that, there's going to be a Dead by Daylight crossover and even more, and Insider Gaming has you covered here on the full patch details if you are interested in learning more about them. And speaking about stuff that's wild, next up we're talking about Bazzite and Twitch. And for some reason, Twitch does not seem to be a fan of Bazzite. So this is the latest from Bob Wolf here. Last night, Bazzite GG, the guys that made the SteamOS build for the Ally and Legion Go before SteamOS was a thing, were in my chat being perfectly normal, and Twitch banned them for solicitation. Fortunately here, Bob posted the proof and the note to Bazzite from Twitch. And this is really weird. I mean, it's a permanent ban, and Bazzite, in my opinion, probably would have just been supporting Bob at anything, like of anything here. It's an operating system. Like, what is going on? Bazzite is a Linux distro. It's not something that people pay for. It's a free piece of software. I don't know. This is super, super weird. I'm hoping Twitch sees this and maybe reverses their decision. I can't see anything that would have led to Bazzite being permanently banned. Now, I don't know about you, but this to me tells me that I will never understand the Twitch moderating system, the moderating team, and everything that goes into it. It just seems so freaking inconsistent. I could go on a tangent about this one, and I'm going to try not to. But I've seen stuff that's resulted in a slap on the wrist or no ban at all, and some very serious stuff, where this, to me, is a nothing burger, and it got a permanent ban. A free Linux distribution, probably talking about stuff that Bob was talking about in a stream, get banned. I don't know here. I will never understand Twitch. And last up here, we're talking about Bethesda and Doom. Now, we talked about this one before when Bethesda made the announcement that Doom had hit 3 million players. And Doom the Dark Ages was the biggest launch in ID's history, 7 times faster to 3 million players than Doom Eternal. It seems this game is doing extremely well, but in terms of copies sold, it might not be doing as well as you think. So it's being reported here that Doom the Dark Ages has reportedly sold less than 1 million copies, around 800,000. The 2.2 million players to bring it up to 3 million are on Xbox Game Pass. Now, unfortunately, I don't know full sales figures from Bethesda because I have not seen official sales figures from Bethesda, so I can't see how close these numbers really are or not. But even if they're in the ballpark, I think it paints a pretty good picture on what exactly is happening here. Bethesda did say player count, they didn't say copies sold. A lot of you pointed that out in the comments on a previous video when we talked about it. And I would say Doom is not doing necessarily bad. 800,000 I would say is still a lot, but not near as good as 3 million. 3 million players is great, but 800,000 sales is significantly less. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do these numbers kind of go along with what you were thinking in the first place? But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. She's watching the birds again. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.